Oh, okay. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Trail Talk. I am so glad you could join us today. We had a little roller coaster ride, not knowing for sure if our guest was going to be here, but he made it. Yay. And speaking of our guests, this is Keith and Colley. And he is the brand new, I'm gonna say brand new, you've only been since what, 5 months, executive director of the Stevens County Historical Museum. As you know, they have been a great historical, a collection of historical things from the area for a very long time. And they have especially a great Halliburton collection of items. So anyway, mainstay in Duncan for years and years. And Kova Williams, the former executive director, retired in October, and Keith has taken over the reins. So we're going to get to know him a little bit and find out about some new things that are happening over at the Stevens County Historical Museum. So welcome to Trail Talk.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Keith. Are you from the area originally? Or?
My family is from here.
Okay.
They go way back into the 1800s. And actually, I'm living now in the house that my great-grandfather built over in Marlow.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so our roots are deep here and kind of scattered everywhere.
And so, but did you grow up
No.
here? Okay,
No.
you grew up elsewhere.
Yeah.
But your family lives here now.
Yes, my
Okay,
parents
Marlow.
retired here.
Okay.
And so I've got a brother and his family and their kids and everybody that's here. So
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to Stevens County.
thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the executive director of the Historical Museum.
Okay, it's an interesting story. I worked in bereavement and hospice for many, many years. And I actually worked with Alzheimer's patients, primarily veterans. And I had a World War II veteran that had really bad Alzheimer's. But I walk in one day to his room to do a visit, and he said to me, "Did you know the 100th anniversary of World War I was coming up?" We all were in shock. Number one, that he talked, but number two, that he could recall something like that. But he was in the phase of Alzheimer's that actually was taking him way back in time, and his dad was in the war.
Oh.
So he was just recalling.
And that event that happened prompted you
To buy my first artifact.
your first artifact
Yeah.
of a World War I artifact, because you in fact have your own traveling museum.
Yes.
Is that
I
correct?
did.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's going to connect you to the Historical Museum.
It's called Awakening the Mind.
Uh-huh.
Right? It was designed for people with Alzheimer's, dementia, and those that are suffering from any kind of memory issues.
Right.
And so when he actually gave us a little piece of his mind that day, with Alzheimer's patients, if you can reach all of their senses at one time, you're going to get a better reaction. So I went online and I searched for an artifact that we could bring to him. And from my research, knowing that the whole war was fought in trenches, I felt like the shovel would be the appropriate first artifact. So I took it to him and I put it into his hands, and he started crying. Right then and there, and the story started flowing. His dad said, if I wasn't shooting, I was digging. If I wasn't digging, I was shooting. There was over 25,000 miles of trenches dug by hand by all of the soldiers. So we were able to start really engaging with him. And I had the family go home, and everybody, Google became our best friends for quite a while to research World War I. And at that point, I unfortunately was in an accident, which put me in a wheelchair for a couple of years. And so I took that one artifact and decided, maybe if it worked like this for one person, what could we do if we had a few more artifacts? And I put together a display, if you want to say that could travel around and go to memory care units and so forth, and we would set it up. And then the bug hit, and then I bought another artifact, and today 10 years later, this is actually our 10th anniversary this year. We're the largest traveling museum in the United States. And we've taken it to, I can't even tell you how many assisted livings and memory care units now across the nation. Then Congress heard about our museum, and it was the 100th anniversary of World War I, and they asked us to be a part of the commission as an official educator. So that was a really good boost for the museum. And then we really started hitting it, and that's how I ended up here, because we were now advertising all over the United States to bring the museum, and Colley heard about it, and Kyle heard about it over at the museum, and they invited us to bring it here. So we did. We came here and we set it up at the Stevens County Historical Museum, and Kova and I bonded. It was a great week. We had an amazing turnout to come to it and all. And as I was leaving, I said to Kova, just jesting, if you ever retire, let me know.
Mhm.
Well, in a roundabout way and through people, I did find out that she was retiring, and I was blessed to come and meet with the board, and they brought me on board.
Because by that time you had moved back here to be closer to your parents.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so that, wow,
Right?
what a trip to get
It was.
here in Stevens County and to be able to take over there at the Historical Museum. So, the traveling museum, so the more he talked about it, the more I thought, I know I have seen that. So on September 23rd of 2021, we took Trail Talk to the Stevens County Historical Museum. And I guess Keith wasn't able to be there when we were there, but Kova took us through that exhibit, and that video is on our Facebook page. So if you want to see more of what he's talking about, or you can find it on our YouTube page, either one, you can look at Awakening the Mind is the name of that Trail Talk episode. So anyway, it was a super cool, I was astounded at the number of artifacts that you have in that collection. It's pretty impressive. It took up a pretty good chunk of that museum over there. But it's awesome that you, I guess you kind of have the setup breakdown system pretty smooth.
We actually designed that on purpose, because there are vans and there are trailers and all of that go, and they're wonderful, but it prevents those in wheelchairs and walkers and any kind of mobility issue sometimes from getting into it. So we completely designed the museum so that it could be carried in, set up on site, and look just like any museum that you would go to.
Exactly.
And then it could be tore down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it prevented no one, and especially in the memory care, they may only be able to stay for a few minutes and be distracted, but they can come back then because we're set up on property.
Right, yeah, it's a really great, it was a great Trail Talk. But now you're here to talk about the Stevens County Historical Museum. You've only been there for 5 months. When you were interviewed, did you have ideas rolling around in your head already about things that you were hoping to have a chance to do?
Only because your brain never shuts down. Yes.
Well, sure.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, I can imagine being brand new and being able to walk into a place, and I've spoken to board members probably a year or so before Kova retired even, who were talking about how there were some things that they wanted to change and update and, you know, just kind of do some different things. So I know that the board was already looking, you know, for that. And so what kinds of things have you been able to do in short 5 months?
Well, first of all, I want to say the biggest blessing was to step into an amazing museum that Kova had built, this platform and this foundation that is amazing. And then so we're going to build on that and make it grow and bring it to year 2024
Mhm.
and with lighting and sound and,
Yeah.
so those are some of the things. Now, you want me to run into some of the ideas that we're throwing out there to do?
Well,
or-
sure, tell us what you've done already,
Okay.
because I know there've been a couple of
Yeah.
things happening already, and then we'll look into the future. a
All
little
right, you
bit.
got it. One of the first things is when I literally walked into the door, they already had the groundwork started about one of Duncan's very own, Peaches Davis, Cincinnati Reds. And this is what I wear to work,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of fun. And he was a Cincinnati Reds player. And he got his start here because of Halliburton. Now, mind you, everything that you're going to hear about is all going to become one big thing now.
Mhm.
So he started with Halliburton and he played on their baseball team,
Right.
the Cementers. And he got a name for himself, and bing, bang, boom, he started going and being called to go to other places and other teams. And it took a little while, but he ended up with the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow.
So even during World War II, he wasn't able to go to war. So he filled in for players that went to war on other teams.
Ah.
And so he really made an incredible name for himself out there. And then when he retired, he came back to Duncan and became part of the community with his brother. And they ended up building houses and created the Davis Edition, which still exists today.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we had a big blowout party. If you missed it, I'm sorry. But we had, it was just like going to the ballpark. We had hot dogs, you name it, root beer. It was a big fun party. And with that said, every time we have a new exhibit open going forward, we're gonna celebrate with a big party for the community, anybody in Stevens County.
Oh, very fun,
Yeah.
very fun. So, there's one. Now, is this going to be a permanent, is it a
It's
permanent part of the
permanent, yeah.
museum? Okay, very
Yeah.
good.
So, well, when you walk in, you will see it's designed. It says, it's designed different than the rest of the exhibits, but it gives you an example of what's coming.
Ah,
All the exhibits are amazing right now, but we're gonna step them all up to be more interactive. There's gonna be videos, there's gonna be music, there's gonna be sound.
mhm.
We're gonna be putting in voice boxes so that people can use their cell phone and they can hear the stories, because unfortunately I'm one person who can't. I wish I could take everybody through personally and tell all the stories, but we're gonna let these boxes help tell the stories.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome. Yeah, I would say that is probably, staying up with technology is a tough thing to do, because you update and you get things and then there's a new update.
exactly.
So, sometimes it's overwhelming to know where to start, and if you have to do it incrementally, well, then this is old by the time you get that done, so.
Exactly.
But these kinds of ideas that you have that will allow people to use their phones, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's really just taking advantage of a tool that's already available. It's not like
And
a big thing.
not only that, we're gonna be teaming up with Thinkability locally.
Mhm.
And we're going to be trying to engage more special needs
Mhm.
citizens in Stevens County. And so we're gonna be incorporating Braille. And of course, the sound and the lighting also plays a factor, especially when it comes to people with memory issues.
Mhm.
You have to be very careful with the lighting overwhelming and the noise.
Mhm.
We're really gonna focus on that on Sunday afternoons specifically,
Uh-huh.
and try to make the surroundings fit someone that's coming in with maybe some memory issues.
Ah, very good, very good. Kind of a special focus day
Yeah, exactly.
to make it a more comfortable,
Yeah,
more.
because if you come in and there's like 30 or 40 people in there, that could completely overwhelm you, along with the TVs going and so forth. So we can actually gauge on Sunday afternoon on how to make that happen.
Mhm. Oh,
safer
that's
for the guests.
a great idea. I love those ideas. Of course, that you're kind of sensitive and aware of that sort of thing because of your previous experience and with your work and everything. So I love it that you're able to bring all of that, to the
Yeah.
museum and make that a part of these changes and updates.
I have to add to that though, it is the coolest thing to work with a team. And I'm talking about the board.
Ah,
But it's more of a team that is all engaged and it's just cool that it's hard in companies when you put people together for a good blend.
mhm,
I'm blessed. I feel like I have that blend
mhm,
to work with and to team with. And
right,
with that said, one of the biggest ones we're gonna be working on this year is Halliburton. You mentioned it earlier.
mhm,
We have the largest Halliburton collection outside of Halliburton alone.
mhm,
So we are gonna be taking what's there now and it is gonna blow up. We are giving it more than double of the space that it had before. And again, there's gonna be a lot of technology involved. You're gonna be able to see what Mr. Halliburton, they're not an oil company. They're a
right, no,
cementing company, but
Exactly.
everybody confuses them with an oil company.
mhm,
So we're gonna try to help paint that picture. We're gonna go all the way back in his life to where his dad died at 12 years old. And we're
mm,
gonna start the journey. So we're trying to engage the younger crowd with the stuff that we're gonna be putting into this so that they walk away. Halliburton was a huge part, as everybody knows, of this community. And when things changed and the majority of them had to leave here, it kind of left a hole.
mhm.
So we're hoping to kind of fill that hole through this new display
Right.
exhibit.
That's
Every
awesome.
museum.
So, it was, I can't remember how many years ago, when, there's a Halliburton Plaza part of this walking trail.
Yeah.
And, there was a big dedication time and some of the Halliburton family came here and there was a big banquet and everything. And my husband works at Halliburton. He's been there for over 40 years. And he had the great opportunity of working with COVA to make that a part of the tour for the visiting family. And so that was a really great experience for him. And he just said over and over about, the collection and using parts of it for different things. And like you said, though, out there at Halliburton on the grounds where he works, they have some really cool
Yeah.
artifacts that are all out there. But anyway, I love that you guys are going to help bring some of that to life. And that's a really awesome thing. Looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
And
To go.
while we're talking about Halliburton and as magnificent as that entire story is,
Mhm.
I think I'm more excited about what's gonna happen with the veterans.
Mm,
We have an amazing display, military display that's
Mhm.
there, but we are going to triple the size of it. And we're gonna go all the way back to Civil War, all the way up to today. We are going to include everybody that was in any of those wars in the museum.
mhm.
So when we get to that point, we're gonna have everybody come and point at who their grandfather or grandmother was in there, and we're gonna try to gather more stories from the
Mm.
military. As we all know, those are, every day they're dying
Oh,
with
yes.
our
Yes.
military. So we're really excited about how that we're gonna be able to bring from Civil War all the way up around and honor our veterans.
Mhm.
So right now, they're on the back, what I call, the back side of the museum. We're moving them to the front. They're going to be your first experience when you walk in the museum.
Oh, wow.
Safety to our veterans.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a great addition.
yeah.
A great addition. So, we have an exhibit here. It's just been here for about a year, probably, in our art museum, the Garris Gallery over there, that is to honor the code talkers of World War I. Yeah. A friend of the museum, his name is Mike Larson. He's a Chickasaw artist, lives here in Oklahoma. Anyway, it's one of his pieces. And, so we were able to get that piece added to the collection. And then we have this great, informational display with some of the names of, the Choctaw code talkers who were all a part of that. And, it's a very cool, piece
Let's
over
see
there.
it.
Yeah, we'll have to show that to you
For
before you
sure.
leave today. Wow, that is so exciting,
I'm excited
very exciting.
very much.
So, the history thing kind of has my brain rolling here. So are there, like local people who have connections with Civil War veterans?
We haven't put the word out on that yet, because we haven't started.
Okay,
but we're-
okay.
We are definitely, I want to engage as much of the community in this as we can. I've already met with a lot of Halliburton people
Mhm.
that are local, and there's some brainiacs, I tell you what,
Yeah.
at Halliburton, but it's been so wonderful to hear their stories.
Mhm.
You know, they had a hiccup in their company, but that was a hiccup and that was it. We're bringing the whole story.
Right.
And so to listen, the pride that they say when they're telling their stories is amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do that with all the new exhibits.
And that veteran, research, that will be super cool. Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of very interested in that. I've been, just reading some different books and things about, what all happened in Oklahoma during the Civil War. And so it will be, pretty interesting to hear what you guys are able to find out. I'm sure there are gonna be people. There are
Oh,
gonna be people who
absolutely.
have, even if they moved here after, at some point, even if they came with the land runs or whatever, if they were, involved, had family involved, that'll be a very interesting thing. So you've got the baseball, you've got Halliburton, you've got veterans,
Native American section we're updating,
okay,
adding to that, that's fascinating. But come and see it. You'll see how we're laying it out, but we've moved in also into a new position to give it more upfront.
mhm,
Trying to think. Another exciting thing with the Halliburton is that we had, because it is the building that it is. I mean, it was used in World War II,
right,
entertainment, all this stuff. And my mind is like, we need to bring that back. And so the stage right now is this wonderful storage room with some wonderful Halliburton stuff up front, but that's all gonna move and we're gonna have the stage back. And I visualize that when we do events, that we can bring in bands from certain eras that literally played here, or their music was played here,
mhm.
and dump it on that stage and come full circle with it all.
Wow, that's very fun
It will
too.
be.
Yeah. Wow, so, I mean, I know making changes like that, doing that sort of thing, that all requires funding. So are you guys able to secure grants for that sort of thing? Or are you, going to try to do fundraising? Is it both and? I mean,
All of
kind
the
of
above.
all of the above.
And individual donors. We've got
Uh-huh.
an amazing lineup of people that give monthly or yearly,
Ah,
and a mixture of all of that together to
Mhm.
move forward. But the grants have been a blessing.
do you have memberships?
We do have memberships. We absolutely
Tell
do.
us about your.
Well, basically, you just call in and we have different levels starting at $50 all the way up to $1,000. And then we've got a program that if you want to do $1,000 times 10, and then you spread it out over time, we'll do that too.
Right.
And that has just been amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
very good.
So,
That's great. Well, I mean, I think it's important for our viewers to know this is an opportunity they have to
absolutely, be a part.
support. Yeah, be a part of that and get this thing. Sometimes you can have all these ideas and everything, but then it takes time. It takes
It does.
a while. And so are you do you have like an end time on when you're hoping to have some of this completed?
I have not put dates on any of it yet because I'm still trying to lay the platform out.
Mhm.
But I would love to have the military by November 11th, so we can do it on Veterans Day. Halliburton's gonna take longer, so it'll probably be at the beginning of next year. But in between,
Mhm.
we're doing stuff like STEM programs. we're gonna be doing one that's basically about the Halliburton program that they went through, the scientists and all that. And then we're gonna be doing other STEM programs. I'm working with the high school, which is literally right across the highway there, to blend some of our STEM programs together and share spaces across the street from each other.
Right, so what does
So-
that STEM program look like?
Well, right now, we're still laying out the program, but we just want kids that want to go above and beyond to have that platform.
Mhm.
So we're gonna be working with Halliburton hand in hand on their STEM program, on what they think would be really cool for probably high school age right now.
Okay,
And then we'll take it down a little bit lower. For the younger age, we're gonna have where you could build a helicopter
mhm,
or you could build an airplane, and then we'll be tying that into the military
mhm,
display.
mhm.
So. And
Uh-huh.
we have a lot of organizations. We have the, organization for the blind that comes in
Mhm,
every month, and they're gonna actually help us with the Braille part.
mhm.
So we're hoping that we're just doing our part to build community
Oh,
with
right,
everybody.
right.
So, we had the retired teachers there today. That was wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. So are you kind of looking to become a venue
No, I
of
don't think
sorts?
so.
No? Okay.
No, yeah, I don't think so, but just like for small gatherings,
Uh-huh,
you know, anniversaries, parties, class
Right.
reunions,
right,
but nothing very big.
right.
Yeah.
Well, so, I'm thrilled to hear about all of these great changes. The building, you mentioned the age of the building. Is it in a good condition?
Phenomenal. We just got a new roof too.
Okay,
Phenomenal condition.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, everybody that comes through the front door, the first question I ask or statement I make is that when you come back by my desk, I want you to be able to please tell me what the largest artifact in the building is.
mm-hmm,
And then that's their goal. And that gets them looking at everything, especially the young ones.
right.
And of course, they're going and they're coming back with wonderful things, but they're not getting it. And I'm not gonna say it live here, but there is an answer to that. And then you get the whole story.
Mhm.
And that story, you know, is a part, I know you're familiar with the WPA.
Mhm.
Well, this year, we're gonna focus on the WPA every month and what they did in Stevens County.
Mhm.
A lot of people know that they built buildings, they built bridges, they built roads, all that stuff, but they don't know that the African-American community, they actually formed an organization through the WPA to collect all the history
Mhm.
from the past, at the beginning of time, and compile it in books. That was a part of the WPA. The WPA also had musicians that were all unemployed. Well, they can go build roads. They're not skilled for that. They actually put them to work teaching how to play the trumpet, the piano, the guitar. And so our musicians all got put back to work. And there's a lot of that stuff that you're going to learn over the year, this year.
Oh,
of
wow.
2024.
That is cool. So will that be like an exhibit there at the museum? Will it be more of like a social media?
Social media, yeah.
Okay,
So that when you come in there, you're going to see signage of all the different exhibits that would have been related or connected to the WPA.
Mhm.
So,
Wow,
Yeah.
that is so great. So where are you getting your ideas? Are these just things you've had in your head and you don't sleep?
and my people I work with over the museum, the board, they
Uh-huh.
ask me if I ever sleep. I said, no, I'm having too much fun right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But I do, I just lay there and have a fun time thinking about things.
right.
How will this benefit somebody more than just looking at it? You know, it's more than that. There's a story that comes with that.
Right.
How do we get that into the minds,
Mhm.
especially of our youth?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
they want to be a part
it's
of it.
because, I mean, I wasn't all that interested in history when I was a young person. But, you know, there are a lot of groups who struggle to maintain a culture because of that lack of interest. And I'm kind of thinking specifically about Native American people. I've talked to several people from several different tribes, and that is like a common thread You know, they aren't interested in learning the language. They aren't interested in learning the dances and the games and all the culture and everything. And so it's a thing to look there. This is the way the young people think today. Their technology is their language. Their primary language is technology. So we really need to engage at that level for them to even give it a look, you know, and so as, I don't know, as frustrating as that can be, it's the way to get them to be interested, I think.
I had a professor in college. I can't make you do anything, but I'm sure gonna cause you to want to. And that's the way I feel. I can't make kids or children walk into the museum and become engaged in it, but I want to cause them to want to be, so that they will want to come back and do it again, or do it on their own and go forward and put the excitement, I guess, the fire in them
Right.
over, you know, something that you might have thrown away and it has an amazing story that nobody would know.
Yeah.
So,
I love it how you see, it seems like you see a potential story in everything.
there is,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And
We just gotta find it sometime.
right, just gotta find that story and bring it out so other people can hear it. Carlos came on Trail Talk. Oh, it was probably a little over, maybe it was just last summer, maybe. Do you remember when was Miss Shirley's art out here? Anyway, Carlos came on and she brought her books of all the history that she put together. And I love when I went for Kova's retirement party and Carlos was there. She grabbed me, she goes, "Come see what we got."
Cool.
And it's a lovely area devoted to the African American community in Duncan.
Yeah.
And she did so much great work, has so many pictures and things
Very
like
proud.
that. Oh, yeah, it's great. And I'm so glad that there is a place where all of that can be out all the time. And so that visitors can come there.
Wait till you see what we're gonna do with it. We're
Ah,
expanding.
good.
We're gonna grow.
I
We're gonna add to it.
wondered if you might be planning to do
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
for
great.
sure.
The stories that she had and
Yeah.
collected, man, those were fantastic. So that's a, I'm very, very happy for Duncan, you know, for the museum, for you to be there and just moving everything forward and new ideas. I'm very excited. I feel like it's just going to really be a great benefit and an even greater educational place in our community, you know. I'm very excited for that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Is there a charge to come and visit?
Never.
Never. All right, so what are your hours there?
We just opened an extra day. We're now
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and 1 to 5,
Okay,
and that's gonna grow.
very good,
Yeah.
very good. So, a totally free place to go, dig around in the history of Duncan and the surrounding communities and be watching for all the changes and all the new things that are coming this way. This is very, very, I'm just so excited about it, Keith. I
Yeah,
really
me too.
am.
I am.
I just love things like that, and it's there, and it just needs a little freshening,
That's
you
it.
know, a little
That's it.
freshening up.
Yeah,
And that's gonna be so great, and I hope that all of these things happen as quickly as they can,
me too.
you know, and you're able to really bring a quality museum, you know, to just be another one of those, things that why people come to Duncan.
Yeah.
Get that museum on that list of why people come here. What are they coming to see?
With that said, with the Peaches Davis,
Mhm.
we had a television station come from Oklahoma City
Mm.
and did it, and they put it on. In the next 2 days, we had people from the city that drove to come meet Peaches Davis. Yeah, that
Wow,
was really cool.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's exactly what you need,
Yeah.
just that kind of
Yeah.
coverage and everything. Well, I'm very hopeful that all of these things are gonna be, coming very soon. I am so glad that, everything came together perfectly and put you in this position. And I know the board, they were ready and just waiting for someone to, hit the ground running with them. And so it sounds like it's a perfect fit.
It is. Yeah.
Well, great. So guys, go by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, 1 to 5. You'll be able to see Keith there and say hi and check out all the fun things at the Stevens County Historical Museum. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
on
for having
Trail Talk today.
Appreciate it.
Maybe whenever you get some more new things going, you can come back and we can talk about them
Yeah.
some more. All right,
Glad to.
all
Thank
right.
you very much.
Absolutely. Okay, so when we sign off, we always say happy trails.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I will not see you guys next week. We're on spring break around here, so we're gonna have forgo Trail Talk next week, but you can find us here the following week. We're gonna have Terry Knox from the Visitors Bureau and Brooke Holding from Red River Technical Center. We'll both be here that week for interviews, so be sure and get that on your calendar. And Keith, have a great time over at the museum.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We'll see you guys next time. Happy trails.